This review is presented by evdance.
We're in Copenhagen and we're here to drive the third generation of the Nissan Leaf, or now they just call it Leaf because it has become more or less an icon. 2011 or 2010, when the first generation came, it wasn't that, much of a mainstream with EV cars, and it really set the road for many other brands to work further on to get their electric cars on the road. But that one didn't have that much range, but it was still not a pioneer, but it was in the top league of these public electric cars, which was interesting. I started off with my friend 2012. We took it from Gothenburg down to Halmstad on the west coast of Sweden. It was -3 degrees. It had about 117 kilometers, I think, in range, that generation 1. We were driving on the motorway. The stops were, a bit longer. And it's rather interesting stepping into this generation, which has a top range of 622 kilometers. And then it tops out at 150 kilowatts of charging power, which is just fair enough. That might be discussed. What do you really want? Do you want something faster? Do you think it's a little too weak? I think it's just a sweet spot, actually. And I think it looks fun. I think it looks fun in this color. You can see the front here. It looks very happy. You got the lid up front here, that light bar, the Nissan logo is lit up as well. And it's got this this aerodynamical drop shaped. And just by looking at it in profile, it looks a little like a shrunken Tesla Model Y, and I just like it. They worked a lot with aerodynamics, and the aerodynamics is one of the key features of having such a low consumption of 13.8 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. And that is due to that drag coefficient of 0.25. That is very impressive. So the larger battery that we are driving here provides you with 622 kilometers in range. You can have a smaller battery of 52 kilowatt hours. This is 75. The smaller battery gives you a range of 440 kilometers, which is, fair enough that as well. The charge speed is 105 kilowatts. Well, that is a minimum nowadays. We need to say that. But still, what do you use your car for? Maybe you're not going for such a long travels, then that battery might be suited for you. This is the evdance portable charger. Very sturdy, very easy to use. Just plug it in, 220, 240 volts socket, and off you go. You get 3.68 kilowatts of charging power. And what I also really like is that they give us the figures of when you drive at 130 kilometers an hour, you can reach about 330 kilometers, which is good. And in Sweden, that is a bit faster. In Sweden, we can only drive 110, maybe 120 at some parts of motorways. So the range becomes really good there. Though it looks rather fancy in profile. I like the rims. You can get 19-inch on this one. This is the top range model. I like the flowing parts of it, and it looks like a water drop in some way. So I like how it looks. And this luminous teal is also a very good color. I like this one. It just feels very EV in some way, and they have a very good palette of colors. And that's something that I really, really respect. Not getting a color that is dull, that is gray or black just because you want to sell it. You should buy your car with some emotions. And choosing a car like this becomes a bit more fun from day to day. You have this flush folding handles. They fold in, so of course the aerodynamics becomes a little better there as well. The roof line and all of that just looks beautiful, flowing as well. And also this one. Sometimes this might be something that people don't like, but I think it looks very clean. It gives it a clean look, and it's comfortable having it up here instead of down here. So the doors, they look beautiful. I like the handles, that they are a bit covered. The back of the car, a part that I like maybe the most, because it feels rather flat. It's almost like a little ducktail here. It looks sporty, it looks futuristic, and these 3D lights, they are also very beautiful, and they have a sort of symbol or signature. The 2 lights here, they are in Japanese Ni, and the 3, they are said to be San, so it becomes Nissan. Just a cool, rather strong stance from the back. Let's check out the trunk. Trunk space is 437 liters, so a little bigger than before. And you can also rearrange a little here. Now you've got some bags and stuff here, but you can see how it looks. Let's just pick them out quick so we can have a look. I mean, look at this. This is really good. So you can reassemble and you can get some more depth. You can put your cables under here. And of course you can fold the back seats to put some more stuff into it. It got some of a swooping rear part here. So of course you can't stack too much in height. But I think that 437 in a car like this is just more than plenty enough. So let's just open up. And well, here's the more or less the engine bay. You do not get any frunk in this one. Sometimes that is not that necessary. Of course, you put some cables there and stuff. At the same time, you have your cables at home most of the time, and you can put them underneath the floor in the trunk. That is just okay. I'm not arguing about this that much, but it is what it is. Here's a very cozy place to sit. I like this one. And I want to start off with something. And you know what that is? These black polished areas. Thank you so much for removing all of that and putting in some other stuff like this plastic, but it looks almost a little more luxurious in my eyes. Instead of having this black polished piano looking stuff, you have just subtle touches of it. You have it here on your buttons and also here, but apart from that, you know, it's rubberized, it's blue, you got some textile up here, it's very open, still the roof line is low, it feels rather sporty, the shoulder line up here and this little LED light that runs across, it's a very elegant, nice, flowing type of design in here that follows the exterior design, so I like it plenty. The seats, they are good, they're rather flat. I think that for me, they are just perfect. You might fall a little out of place if you were a little bigger. They could have had a bit more support from underneath your thighs. But for me, I always want to be free down here. So I'm not that picky about it. But I heard some others that have a bit longer legs. I'm not that tall, 174 centimeters. I like it. I think it's comfortable. But yeah, it could have got some more support underneath there. Otherwise, you can set them in so many ways. The steering wheel is also extremely well calibrated. You can set it in depth, in height, in so many ways. You get into a perfect driving position. I might find it sitting a little too high, but at the same time, everything is rather lifted around you. So you feel rather cocooned in here. I like it. Steering wheel looks beautiful, just one spoke, a lot of buttons, a bit Japanese over it, but we like that. We can't be arguing about, you know, buttons on the steering wheel because it's nice to have some physical buttons on the steering wheel. There are plenty of them, so you really need to run them through before you know how it works, but you got them all there. Essential, easy to work through, and if you just look down here, I mean, look, park, reverse, neutral and drive. These buttons, they are clear, they're big, and they're very logical. I like that approach. And you got that little knob here, which just adjusts your different drive modes. E-pedal as well, and you got your regenerative setting via the paddles on the steering wheel. There might be a little digging around getting into the menus because you need to get into the sub menus and stuff, but the graphics on this 14.3-inch dual screen is just perfect. It feels very Nissan. This is a Nissan product and I really like that. But you need to dig into some of the menus. But as you move along through the menus, they are just great. You can see your battery capacity, you can get your navigation screen, radio, ProPilot Assist, and you know, a lot more here. So easy to run through, but you need to just get into it and then you know your flow. This screen here in the middle, very quick in its processor. You can get into the category of checking your battery, your climate scheduling, your battery cooling assist, Everything is logically laid out and it's quick. So while you're on the move, you can use it without being worried that it's a bit laggy. Battery heater, yeah, set that in auto, you can get into that. You got a lot of apps, you can do some racing games, you can check your charging, and there's just a lot in here that is great. Not, overwhelming in any way, just good. And then we got a camera menu here as well. Maybe the resolution isn't the best, but it's still quick to change all the different layout. It's 360 camera here, so you can check the car out of where you drive and where you place it and put it. And you can also see through the hood if that might be important for you. And then you got different interior lighting and everything. I mean, it's something that comes with many cars nowadays, but the best thing is that it is quick in its operation. And also, if we check this little menu down here, well, here's a bit of that sensitive touching, but it's very, very responsive and easy. So they keep physical buttons together with these semi-haptic touching buttons that works really, really well, together with the integrated systems in here, and also playing along with physical buttons here. It's a well orchestrated and laid out interior in here, which I fancy a lot. So I think that they've done a pretty good job here. Let's check around. I think that pockets are really good. They're deep and good. I could get my little small camera bag down there, so you can put a water bottle down there if you want to. You got 2 cup holders here. You got 2 USB outlets down here, a little pocket here to put your keys or whatever. Induction charger, very neat to have it there. It's covered so you're not disturbed by it. Something that I really don't like and I don't really understand is this space down here. That is to open up and feel a bit airy, but in some cars you can move this and then you can slide over. In this one it becomes a little, well, unpractical. I don't know why. They could have instead just extended this part and have some extra pockets, because that doesn't feel necessary. It's almost like it's dangerous, because if you want to put something down here, it might fall under the pedals. Now you won't be doing that, you will be putting stuff here, but I think you know where I'm getting. But at the same time, really nice up here. I like this blue, I like this white. And also if we come to the roof, well, we got this crystals that are binding together. So if you wanna, tone down the sun from the outside into the cabin, then you do that. And the crystals, they get separated. And when you separate them back here and the sun hits, well, let's see here, and the sun is hitting into the cabin, it says Leaf here, and then that is displayed down on the center console. So that's pretty cool. A very light and nice interior in here, and you need that in a car of this size. It becomes light and nice. Convenient stuff is also, of course, this Pro Pilot. If you set your destination and the navigation, then it will preheat the battery, it will plan your route of where to charge and all of that, and it will also read out the road if there's a curve coming, so it slows down and adapts to the best, to the best driving pattern to keep it as economically and efficient as possible when you're out on your journeys. So everything is collected here. You got massage as well, and that was really, really strong. And also in the headrest, you got some speakers, so when the navigation is talking or there's some music playing, you got speakers here. So that is amplified and gives a really good experience, I think. This is a good car. I like it, and I like its approach. I like its look, and I think it really takes that serious icon status that the Leaf once had to a new level. The only thing might just be that some might argue, how is the charging curve? Because it felt like that was, like falling a little after a couple of minutes. But maybe that is something that you need to try out first. But I think this is plenty enough. Something that is also very good is that you have quick buttons here for lane assist, opening the trunk of course, but also the head-up display, so you don't need to dive into the menus to turn that off. Heated steering, and yeah, just some of that is important, because nowadays so many manufacturers put things into the screens. Some work really well, but some are just a pain working through. So thank you for being physical in the button area. that is something that is well appreciated. Let's check out the back seat. And oh, as soon as you fall into these seats, very, very soft. Maybe a little too soft in some places, like it's a little uneven, but cozy and, you know, soft sponginess over it. You can put your feet under the front seat, and I'm sitting in its lowest position so I can get my rather big shoes under there. That feels good. And there's also a little better support for your thighs here. So it's, you know, pointing upwards, and you sit in a comfortable position. And this is also the thing, you need to just absorb it for a little while, you know, comparing it to other models, which might just raise your feet, but they're not that raised in this one, so I like it. It feels good. Like the materials, I think that they are fine. It feels good. It doesn't feel that, you know, plastic in some ways. Sure, a little down here, but otherwise there's some fabrics running across here as well. 2 USB-C ports here. And what do we got more? We got 2 cup holders, an armrest. And maybe luckily I'm not that tall, but I sit perfect here. For my head, it's, you know, I got so much of space back here. So for me, it's perfect. So up to 180 centimeters, you might sit good. If you're a little taller, then you might need to, you know, fall down a little. But I think that falling down a little in these seats are not that bad because they're not that stiff. So you fall into them, you sink into them in some way. So it feels good in the back seat. And it's very, very light back here, thanks to this big window. Really, really good. We got an indication of the price. The small battery starts in Sweden from 439,000 Swedish crowns. That is around 42,000 euros. The big battery starts from 510,000 Swedish crowns. Well, let's say 50,000 euros. I think that's a decent price. You can get into the category of comparing to some of the competitors. But I think that if they can keep that price, then it becomes a good proposition. And of course, it has vehicle to load, and that is something that we'll demonstrate in here.
Like picnic, connect your grill to it, start doing some family barbecue time. It has a power discharge of 3.6 kilowatts, so it's sufficient for all your activities, outdoors activities. It gives you the freedom to power up your adventures.
Rather quickly when you step into this car and you roll off is how smooth, and of course how quiet it is, but how smooth it is. And isn't that the thing about a car like this? It should just be relaxing, quiet, and effortless in some way. And something that is important is also the range, of course. This is the range topping one, 622 kilometers. So now we're just crawling it. Let's just try out the one pedal drive. The one pedal drive, well, there was a lot of questions about that yesterday. So, no, it's not a one pedal drive because it doesn't come to a complete stop. Sure, but as soon as a one pedal drive is rather strong, when I see it as a one pedal drive, it gets down to a creeping speed. It doesn't need to get down to, you know, a complete stop. Not in my book. Whenever you pass 600 kilometers in an electric car, well, then you're rather satisfied. But when you have that range, you want to go for longer. And when you go for longer, you want to be very efficient and quick at the quick charging stations or the fast charging stations. But that is something that I wonder why. You know, Nissan Leaf, this is more or less an icon, and it really set a roadmap for all the other production EVs that came after it. Wouldn't it be good today to have a bit quicker charger, because you can only charge 150 kilowatts? And we looked at the curve and it felt like it dropped rather quickly. Still, you have 10 to 80% charged in under half an hour, and I think that's just something that you are used to as an EV owner. So maybe that is okay, but still 150, 200, that would do it. So out on the motorway here, and let's just see, this has 0.25 as a drag coefficient. That is very low. That gives it a combined consumption of 13.8 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. That is low. I mean, that is in combined consumption. And you can feel that when aerodynamics are working, when they're good, when they're put down a lot of work into that, on the motorways, that's when you can feel how it cuts the wind and that it becomes a lot more quiet. And this is rather quiet. I think that the only thing that I'm hearing some noises from are the side mirrors. But it's not bad. It is buttery smooth. The suspension is just great. Now we're driving on a road which is, I mean, it's not that scarred, it's not that torn up in any way. But still, this is normal motorway, and it is really, really smooth. A little fiddly in the beginning of what the menus are, but you get through that. I like how crystal clear everything is on these 14.3-inch dual displays. They're a bit tilted down, and I think that you can't really get down that low. As usual, I want to sit very, very low, and I want to set the steering wheel high. You can get the steering wheel fairly high, and it's really, really well configurable. I like that. So good grip in this one. And you see so well around. There's a lot of windows, and you can also see very good and where the edges of the car is. So you can place this fairly well. But at the same time, you sit in a way that feels a little sporty, even though I think you sit a little on top once again. But the shoulder line here, that's fairly high, so that makes you feel a bit more cocoon. The Google integrated navigation system is just great. It is on point everywhere, and let's just feel how this bend feels. It's a bit slippery here. Oh, look at this. What is this? Now the traction control is off, and there we're spinning off, so a little bit of power. It's front wheel driven, so of course it understeers. It's a bit slippery and it's a bit wet, so yep. It's not such a heavy car. It weighs between 715 to 2,000 kilos. This it depends on what trim line you have. 2,000 kilos, that is okay, but it's not a very big car. So sure, there's some weight to lug around. When you just quickly get off the motorway and then get into the suburbs and drive on some smaller roads and placing it in those tighter alleys and stuff, when that is effortless, then you know that a car is rather complete. And this one feels very light in its steering. It's fairly direct. I like the steering inputs. It's on point. You also got your different drive modes here with a flick of that little button here. It's a very small button. You get into Eco, you get into Standard, you get into Sport, and then you get into Personal, so you can calibrate that in whatever way you want. 7 point something, and there you get the grip again. Well, 7.5 seconds, 0 to 100. That's good enough, and I like that. It doesn't need to be that frantic. It doesn't need to be under 5 seconds or something like that. This is just enough. But sure, a front-wheel driven car might get a little hectic, but I like that it spins out and that it is direct. Let's just feel. But that's the thing. Can you feel that? It's very direct. I like that. Okay, it spins out all the way to 125 kilometers an hour. Now let's just find the grip. And I like, yeah, you can feel that it smells a little of rubber. But all right, so here we go. Now let's just feel the brakes. Yeah, it's a little spongy. It's not that direct, but it's there. This is what I like. You know, you really need to know where to dose that front wheel driven power, because, oh, look at this. We got some compressions. Now we can feel how it feels in a sporty way. Ooh, it's just like almost like an air suspension. Really, 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 really nice. The brakes, you know, they're there. I mean, they're not that powerful, but they're there. And let's get a bit harder on it, gradually taking it in. Here you can work some with the trail braking, and we're catching up. But it's not bad. It's not bad. I mean, it just flowed over these bumps that were over there. Really good. Here we are again in sport mode. Yeah, it picks up speed. Top speed is 160 kilometers an hour. Plenty enough. You will never mash on in that speed on the motorway. Well, maybe if you're on the Autobahn and if you want to get somewhere quickly, 160 is enough. And of course it warns very quickly. Maybe not that quickly, but I can look around for a little while and then it warns that my attention isn't that good. So I like that. I just turned off the speed warning. That's good. You can dig into the menus, and you can also preset a custom mode that you just push with 2 clicks, and then everything is off for whatever you want. If you want the lane assist to be cut off, the speed warning, or the driver attention warning. So the buttons here are very logically placed here. A little plastic in their feel, but you push D for drive and for neutral, R for reverse, and P for park. Very simple, very easy. Not just a, a gear lever or something, just that. I like that. And here you go. You got the 3D monitoring system, camera monitoring system, so you can look all around the car. The graphics are not that good and not that sharp actually, and it's a little bit laggy, but it's still there. And if you want to see through the bonnet, you can do that as well. So yeah, sure. Something that many cars has nowadays. You are very lazy nowadays getting all these systems, because I always think back to the times where we didn't have any of that. We needed to, like look back and see. We were a bit more of a precision drivers these days, and it's just something that you rely on, your reversing cameras. But that's the way it is. And the steering feel, it's light. I have it in sport now, and I think that when you drive in Eco, it becomes, a little more light. It feels fun. It feels fun. So it mixes all of this together, a little sportiness, connection, but the most dominant thing is its comfort. It is really comfortable, quiet, relaxed, and refined. You can feel that the response and the heftiness of it becomes a little more tough in sport mode. But I also appreciate that there is no artificial sounds. But that is also something that I talk about many times when I drive sports EVs, that they have this sound that is synchronized together with your driving, because you want that immediate feel. And when you don't have that in some sport cars, and when you drive really quick, it might feel a little empty. I drove the Tesla Performance just a couple of days ago. That doesn't really have that. It has just a strong electric sound that works. But in this one, it's just quiet, and that's what you want in a more comfortable EV. So nothing fancy about it, nothing pretentious. It's just clean, quiet, and nice. And when driving in the suburbs here, there's some traffic, there's a lot of bicyclists everywhere. You look around a lot and you feel free, because the vision all around is great. And of course you get a lot of light let into the cabin, so it feels airy and fresh in here, even though the roofline is rather low. And of course you got this crystals that bind together if you want to close it. And it also keeps the temperature in here a little better. They showed that yesterday with the UV rays and some heat, how it keeps the heat away when you have it closed. It's a little slow in its operation. Hey Google, what's the name of the castle in Helsingör?
Here's what I found along your route for what's the name of the castle in Helsingør.
So you can get some info very quickly through the Google integrated system. I mean, the best system, the system that you should have in almost any car, because it's just so carefree and so quick. Love that system. So just a little glimpse of the consumption here. We've been driving for, I think, 2 hours or something here now, and we're averaged 17.9 kilowatt hours. That is good, because we've been driving fairly active and rather quick and done some accelerations and stuff. So to get that combined consumption of 13.8, I don't think that is that difficult. So the overall feeling of the drive, I think, is very pleasant. I like this car, and after spending just, this is just a short first drive with this car, it grows quickly on you, and it takes care of you in a soothing way. And what do I mean by that? Well, I think that everything is very intuitive. I think the system is quick, very easy to understand. You need to know how to dig into the sub-menus and stuff, but clearly displayed, and it just plays along well. So you sit well, there's good connection to the drive. The e-paddle function works well. The ProPilot, well, that works very well. When you set your destination point and let the navigation just rule all of that trip by preheating your battery, going to wherever you need to go. And I mean, isn't that what you want from a car? Well, it is, and I like the look of it. It looks fun, it looks a little different. If you look at the generations before this one, well, then this is completely different. And I like that step as well when it comes to design.